All right, let's do it.
Excellent. So, welcome everyone to the third edition of Inside the Steelers Room, presented by Steelers Room. Today we're joined by a very special guest. Today we have former UT Martin Skyhawk, 2021 Phil Steele's FCS All-America third team member, and current Steelers tight end Rodney Williams. Welcome, Rodney.
Thank you for having me, man.
No problem. It's our pleasure. So I'm thinking we start straight off. Let's start with the beginning of your football career. How did you get into the sport, and when did you sort of get the idea that it could be an option as a career?
So I started playing when I was 7, um, and that just started from my dad being a big fan and me being around the sport, watching it with him, and running around my living room pretending like I was one of the guys on the TV. So that's where it started, and I just continued to do it, and it didn't really hit me that I had a professional chance until I would say that COVID year. That COVID year, when I was able to, work out as much as I could for a whole year and get my body to where I wanted to be. And, and it took off from there.
That's awesome to hear. So obviously in high school you also ran track and you played basketball. Were there any sort of possibilities? Was there ever thought in your mind that you could go professional in any of these sports?
For the longest, I thought I was going to the NBA. It's just, being 6'4", your height is more it's more appreciated in the NFL than the NBA. 6'4" is normal. That's really short in the NBA. So I just went where where I felt like I had the best chance to stand out.
Awesome. That's really interesting to hear about. So now going on to your moving on to your college career. So in your college career at UT Martin, you began your career and saw lots of action at wide receiver. In your last 2 years, you switched to tight end, the position which you still play to this day. Tell us about what made you switch positions and sort of some challenges which you had to face when switching positions.
Um, some of the challenges were, well, what made me switch was Coach Simpson. He y'all tripping, bro. he he came to me after I was working out. Like I told you in that COVID year, trying to get my body right. And I got a little bigger than I intended to. And he told me that he could see me playing that flex tight end position. So I trusted what he thought and what he saw for me. And I took that. And some of the challenges were just gaining the weight, going from blocking DBs and safeties to blocking outside linebackers and stuff like that. So that was some of the biggest challenges for me, just adapting to being in the box instead of out on the edge.
Interesting. That obviously makes a lot of sense and obviously seems like something which a few challenges which could be hard to overcome. Now moving on. So after your career at UTM's, so after a very successful career at UTM, you ended up ranking ninth in program history with 99 career receptions. Talk to me about your college career. What was your decision process like committing to UTM, and what were some of your favorite memories in your college career?
So well, it started with me getting there. I was playing receiver in high school, and I thought I was going to be an SEC receiver, but I ended up getting injured my senior year, missing a couple games, so my interest fell off pretty bad. And UT Martin was one of the people that stuck around, so I ended up going there and playing receiver. And then when I got there, I didn't of course you don't play as much as you think you should. I didn't redshirt, but I still was was a second string guy up until my junior year. We had a guy named Kalen Weathers who ended up going to the Bears after he played. So I had to wait behind him, and I didn't really start accumulating stats until my junior year, and then COVID, gave me two extra years, so I was able to pile on two of those, and get my stats up.
Okay. Awesome. So now going into the draft, you had a super impressive showing at your pro day, earning a relative athletic score of 8.87 out of 10. What were your feelings going into that pro day, and how did you feel after the fact?
So I knew going in, just due with my training at X3 in Nashville, I knew going in that I would have a good pro day. I ran a little slower than I wanted to or planned to, but I knew that I would have a good pro day. Just in talking to my agent, he told me the importance of having a good pro day coming from a small school like Martin. So I knew the importance of that, and I knew going in that I would have a good day, and that propelled me up the draft board some. So that was a good day for me.
Nice. So, also, sort of, we mentioned earlier that RAS. How do you feel that that relative athletic score represents you as a player?
Honestly, I don't really know I don't really know like how to read it, and really know what it means. I know mine was good. I got knocked some because of my size. I was 235, so that knocked me down some. But I really don't know too much about the RAS score and how that works. Uh, so yeah, I really don't know what to think about that one.
Okay. Um, so now you've finished your pro day, and you're sort of well into the draft process. Talk to me about the overall sentiment going into the draft, and were there any teams in particular which expressed interest in you?
Yes, I thought I was getting drafted, honestly, um, but it didn't work that way. I had a pretty nice amount of teams show interest in me. The Steelers, actually, I never heard from the Steelers though, which kind of hurt me a little bit. But yeah, I had some good interests. I was expecting to go between like round 5 through 7, but ended up going undrafted to the Broncos. So it didn't go the way I wanted to, but I was still happy to be the league I always dreamt of being in.
Makes sense. And then sort of when obviously when Denver called you after the draft, after sort of all that emotion of not ending up being drafted, what was the feeling when you received that call?
It was I guess it was bittersweet, of course. I like I said, I expected to be hear my name called, but I was still happy, and they came forth and laid out a plan for me, what they saw in me. So I was willing to trust that and head there and give it my all.
Excellent. So, moving on, sort of following the draft, you obviously spent a good chunk of the offseason with the Denver Broncos. Was there anything in particular which you learned from this experience?
Yes, I learned. Well, see, the thing is, there is no such thing. Like when you get to the NFL, everybody's good. So there is no such thing as a playoff or anything like that. Like you have to give it 100% on every play, or you could get embarrassed anytime by anybody. So that's really what I learned the most is just everybody's here for a reason, and there people are trying to show their reason.
Super interesting to sort of hear a bit of insight about that, the mindset in the NFL. Um, so then you joined the Steelers practice squad nearly 2 months ago. Talk to us about the signing process which was involved and sort of your feelings about the news that you'd found a new team.
Well, so I came up here and worked out for them, which was a little crazy because I grew up a Steelers fan. So getting that call for them telling me to come up here and they want to see me, and I was the only tight end in my group. So I was working out for them, and I was just excited to be back. Doing what I love to do and for my favorite team, and it's been fun. I'm in a great room with a lot of talented guys, and they're good at what they do. So I'm just learning and getting the playbook down and doing all of that and getting ready for my opportunity.
Well, that's great to hear that sort of to hear that dreams do come true and obviously great to see that you're reunited with your childhood team. So since your arrival, was there anyone particular who you've grown close to, and are there any players which you would say really stand out in practice, and why?
So the players I would say I'm the closest with, I guess, would be the guys in my room and Calvin because we both from Memphis. So I knew Calvin Austin before I got up here. And everybody, it's hard to say somebody that stands out because everybody's in the NFL. Everybody's making plays every day. But it's still crazy to see some of the guys you grew up watching out there, and going against them. But yeah, as far as certain people standing out, I don't really have a certain person. It's just everybody's out there competing, trying to get better and get a win.
Completely understand. Makes perfect sense. So next up we have sort of obviously as a NFL player, walk us through a typical day or week as a member of the Steelers organization.
Okay, typical day. I get to the building at about 7 a.m. Get a lift in, and I mean we have meetings up until like 11. Then we go out there and practice. Then we meet after and watch the film. And then we have because we have our meals in between that. But it's a lot of studying that goes into it. You really you put more hours into the film part and the getting to know your opponent part more than you actually do on the field than your actual hours on the field. So that's one of the things that you go through during the day is just the meetings and the consistent film watch. And during the week, I mean, it's the same thing. It's really the same thing every day, man. We get up and we get to it, and then hope for the best result on Sunday.
Awesome. That's really interesting to sort of get an inside opinion and sort of an inside recount of what it's like to be a Steelers player. So next up we have sort of a question about sort of personal preference. If you could play with any player past or present, who would it be?
Any player, past or present. I really wish I got a chance to play with Big Ben. It's tough that he retired the year I got here. But if I could play with anybody, I would like to have Big Ben back there for a little bit. Not to replace Kenny or anything, but just for the aesthetic purpose.
Obviously makes complete sense. Growing up a Steelers fan, that must have been obviously a huge dream
Sure.
to play alongside Big Ben. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, but hopefully you're having fun with it anyways. So last question for me. After having played against and alongside so many talented players, who would you say truly stood out to you?
Are you saying in college?
Yeah, college, the league, sort of just um, any form of football.
In college, the best player that I played with in college. That's a tough question. We have some great guys on the team. I have to put Jalen Moore in there. I have to put Colton Dowell in there. He's the leading all time. He's leading UT Martin all time in receiving yards, and he's close to leading in touchdowns. So I had to put him up there. We had a lot of talented guys at Martin. Keon Howard, he was there with me. So yeah, we had some talented guys there at Martin. In the NFL though, the best player I played with is or against. That's tough. I do have TJ Watt on my team. So that's a different beast right there. But yeah, I had to give it to TJ.
Obviously, a great response. It's obviously hard to sort of choose anyone other than TJ Watt in this scenario. So great. So now we're going to move on to some questions from the audience. Anyone watching, feel free to leave your questions in the comments below. But we also have some questions which were uh, sort of asked in the comments of the post. So we have one here from Steeler Cards and Nikita Shante. They're asking, what is your inspiration to work so hard every day to pursue your dreams?
Um, you said was from Nikita Shante.
Yep.
Okay. So Nikita, I would say my family would probably be my biggest motivation. Just being able to, provide them whatever they want is a dream that I have. Um, so I would probably say that's my biggest motivation is the people around me and who's been supporting me and helping me get here. People like my mom and dad and Nikita Shante and people like that.
Sounds like a very diplomatic answer. Um, so we have one in the chat here from Gabe McCurdy. He's asking, who's your favorite NFL player ever?
Calvin Johnson. Calvin
Great
Johnson,
answer.
my favorite NFL player ever. When I grew up playing receiver, so that's what I was watching and trying to emulate, as best I can. Even though there's only one of him, but that would be my favorite player ever, Calvin Johnson.
Great answer. So now we have one from Lucas.moore88. And he is asking, what is your main goal in football?
So my main goal in football is to play for as long as I can. Um, I want to win a Super Bowl. I feel like that's one of that can be one of the greatest feelings ever. Winning a Super Bowl, I would love to be able to play in a Super Bowl and win one. And I would also love to be able to just get. I would love to be able to just get suit up with the Steelers and go out there and do my best with them.
That's a great goal. Definitely one Steelers fans would love to see happen as well. It would be great to get another Super Bowl sometime soon. So here in the chat, we have one from Liam Garvey, and it's sort of a question about the procedure of a practice squad player. So he is asking, do you travel to the games at Heinz Field and travel with the team?
So the games at Heinz I go to, the away games I don't go to those.
Okay, great. Thanks for clarifying that. Now we have one from Jonah_Hofer, and they're asking, what is the best nickname that you have ever been given as a football player?
I would say the best nickname I've been given is Jigga. My cousin gave that to me when I was younger, when she used to watch my little league games, and my family still calls me that to this day. So I would say Jigga is the best nickname I've been given.
Great, thanks for sharing. We have one here from FW_Pace, and they're asking, how did you get to where you are now?
Hard work for sure. Just keeping my head down and never giving up on my goals. No matter the outcomes of whatever was going on at that moment, I would just keep my head down and keep working and never. You got to realize that nothing's gonna be given to you, so you got to keep going until you can take what you want.
Great, that's obviously a great mindset, and obviously will be a great way to help you be successful. Um, we have one here from Prince_B_bruh, and they're asking, how do you stay humble?
It's easy because I'm not where I want to be, so there's really no reason for me to be boastful or anything like that. I'm not close to where I want to be in life or where I want to be in my career. So staying humble is easy.
Great, super interesting to hear about. Now we have a question from B-Dog the Great, asking your favorite NFL team to play against.
The Cowboys. The Cowboys definitely is just growing up that was the rivalry, and my family especially was the Steelers and the Cowboys. So I would love to play against the Cowboys and whoop them. That's what I would love to do
Awesome. Well, we would love to see the Steelers whip the Cowboys sometime soon as well.
for sure.
Now we have one from Mallory.Yar. So obviously we sort of touched on this earlier, but they're asking, who is your favorite teammate and who is your favorite coach? Hello?
Okay, there we go.
Sorry, I think I might have cut out there. Here, I'll just ask that again. So we had one from Mallory.Yar. And we sort of touched on this earlier, but they are just asking, who is your favorite teammate and who is your favorite coach?
My favorite teammate here, or they're saying of all like
I
ever.
don't think they specified, so it's really up to you.
Okay. My favorite teammate in college, I would have to say David DeBose. That was my roommate, my teammate, and all of that. We were together from the time we got there to the time we left. And in the NFL, my favorite teammate, the guys in my position room for sure. That's we crack a lot of jokes in there, and we have fun in there. But we also do our jobs and make sure we perform on the field. So that's how I answer that question.
Great to see. So now we have one in the chat from FBWO underscore asking if you have any advice to a big frame wide receiver about converting to tight end position.
Well, first, I wanna give a shout out to him. That's my he's my trainer back home with like position stuff. He definitely helped me a lot. He slowed the game down a lot for me. But the thing I would say is just, you know, you got to first off you have to have the mindset that because it's different going in there to block those outside linebackers and defensive tackles and stuff. You have to have the mindset first off that you're willing to get in there and do that, and just take on the process of it. Like as far as the make sure you staying flexible, keeping your speed up, making sure you growing with your strength and your mentality in the game and your IQ of the game, or learning inside the box stuff. 'Cause that's a whole different world. So I would say that would be my advice to just take it on full speed and enjoy that process of becoming flipping positions.
Thank you so much for that. I'm sure that will be very useful for any sort of high school or even college players looking to make the switch. Um, Now we have one from Jaden underscore Stark asking, what's your favorite part of playing football?
Uh, my favorite part of playing football is, I mean, it's the same. You still get the same feeling every time as you did when you were a kid. Like we're adults playing a kid's game, so you still get the same feeling every time you strap it up. It's never a dull moment. It's never boring. It's always the same sport. It's always exciting, and you can't wait to attack it. So that's my favorite part about football.
Awesome. Great to see sort of the passion for the sport. We have one here from that boy Kingston asking, how would you feel if you got on the active roster, in brackets, which you will?
Um, I would feel great, Kingston. I would have something for you that happened. I'll take care of you.
Great to hear. Great to hear. Just scrolling through the chat here. Um, a lot of chats from Tej. Um, but no, I think I don't see any more. Oh, there's one from the Lamar Ali. I think it might be a targeted question asking for your favorite O lineman.
My favorite old lineman, Matt and Hatchie. No, no, I'm just
Oh,
playing. It's Lamar. It's Lamar. I give it to Lamar. I had to mess with him.
awesome. I think I'm sure you'll be very happy to hear that. Well, I think. Sorry, TJ, I think I missed some of your questions. Did you want to ask them again?
Um, we don't have to worry about Teach at all. We can ignore his questions, honestly.
Okay. Um, Sounds good. I think that is going to be it for the interview. I wanted to personally thank you for your time and sort of for coming on this interview and wish you the best of luck this season.
Appreciate you.
No problem. Have a great season.